Nighttime Podcast. Yeah. It's a nighttime podcast. Yeah. It's a nighttime podcast. The podcast is usually recorded in the morning or day. But today is very different because I'm doing it at fucking night. It's a nighttime podcast. Nighttime podcast. The podcast is usually recorded in the morning or day. But today is different because I'm recording it at night. Hey, it's a nighttime podcast. I'm sort of energized. I'm sort of not. I'm feeling a little under the weather. Y'all. If there was weather, I would stop, drop, and roll and get right under it. Get right under it because that's how I'm feeling. Sipping on hot tea. Speaking of which, hold on one second. God damn, that tea is hot. That is good on my throat. Because I think like many of us, I apologize if I'm a little bit, how would I say, stumbly, mumbly, and jumbly. My words come out very tumbly. And because of my voice, it could almost even be considered rumbly. See, I'm a real rapper. True, Jesus. Yeah, I think like a lot of people this time of year, I think I've come down with a little, people say, I think I'm going to catch a draft. Hey, close the window. I think I'm going to I don't want to catch a draft. I think I caught a draft. Like, I don't feel very bad. It's kind of like one of those drafts that you catch. Somebody leaves a window open and you catch a draft. And it's one of those drafts that I've caught. I think I caught it yesterday. And I woke up today hoping that it would either be gone or getting better. And it's about the same. Because you know how it is. It could be way, way worse. You wake up and realize you got the flu. You realize you got strep throat. But now I woke up and I took some vitamins and shit. And I'm hoping that tomorrow I'll be all better. Especially considering tomorrow's Thursday. And Friday, I am going to Las Vegas. Going to Las Vegas this weekend, y'all. I've been there once recently on tour. We did a show in Las Vegas. And before the show, we had a drink or two, some food to eat. After the show, I think we might have had one drink and played some blackjack. But, we had a show, and the next morning we had to leave really early. We had a show in Oakland the next day, and we had to wake up and leave at like 5 or 6 a.m. So it wasn't much of a Las Vegas kind of night. And the time I went before that, it was to shoot a music video. Same thing. All biz. But guess what, folks? Not this weekend. No biz, all play. This weekend. One weekend only. Las Vegas. All play, no biz. I would tell you what's going to happen there. But I don't know what's going to happen yet. And if I did know, I couldn't tell you because it's what happens there stays there, right? Las Vegas. So, sipping my tea. Hold on one second. God damn, that's good. And I'm taking it easy today, taking it easy tomorrow. I'm doing something tomorrow, but that's I'm still going to be taking it relatively easy. And I'm hoping to get better by tomorrow night too, because I'm doing something tomorrow night, and then the next day, I make my way. Not via the. I'm flying out there. I'm doing a one-way flight to Vegas on Friday. I've been in my house a lot. So I'm excited to leave. I'm excited to go. My homie T-Rex, that any long-term podcast listener has heard either on the podcast or at the very least has heard me talking about my friend T-Rex and my homie RT. They're out there. I think they got out there today. They're doing comedy out there. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They got shows every night at the Stratosphere. Hey, speaking of which, shit, I don't remember the name of the comedy club. Should have asked, or I should be currently Googling it. There's a comedy club at the Stratosphere in Las Vegas. And every night this week, my homie T-Rex will be playing there, and I am not bullshitting you. I've had a lot of friends that do music and a lot of friends that do comedy, and if I were to give them a shout out, tell you to go see their show on this podcast, I would tell you about how great they are. But you know what? In a lot of cases, I'd be fucking lying. What did Common Sense say back in the day? Some whack, he used the N-word. I'm not going to. Some whack N-words are cool. With them, I stay cordial. That's how you pronounce it, cordial. Not the case at T-Rex. If you go see my homie T-Rex and my boy RT, who's opening the show for him every night this week, it's not like that. That motherfucker is seriously hilarious, and he should be a much bigger deal than he is. As I've told him way too many times, he's probably annoyed by me saying that. But anyway, if you're in Vegas, you live there, or you're just going there for vacation or whatever, I recommend getting over there. I don't remember what time they do the show every night. I have no information about this, but I'm sure the interweb does. If you go there on Saturday or Sunday, my ass will be there. I will be in Las Vegas. And like I said, it's not biz. It's all pleasure. I guess they're up there for biz. So if I'm up there for pleasure, who knows if they're even going to know that I'm up there for so much pleasure. If they're going to be like, hold up, man, we're up here for biz. We're not doing the whole pledge thing. We're up here for biz. Then I might have to, Jesus, got a real, called a draft. You know that feeling in the back of your throat when you catch a draft? That's how I feel right now, man. I called a fucking draft. Somebody close the window. Somebody close the fucking window. I called a draft. But yeah, so if you're in Vegas, holler at me this weekend. I'll be up there. And, just out there to have a good time. Hopefully I won't be sick. Hopefully I'll get over the sickness. Even if I am sick, I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. I already booked the flight. I'm taking a flight there and driving back because T-Rex is already out there and he's going to drive me back. So I got a one-way ticket to Las Vegas. And it's going to be fun. I don't give a fuck if I find out Friday that I have pneumonia and the doctor says, if you actually decide to take this trip to Las Vegas, you will probably not make it home. I'll be like, you know what, doc? Here's 2 pills that say go fuck yourself. Why don't you take them and call me in the morning? Because what happens stays in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And if I'm about to die, doesn't matter because I'll stay in Vegas. If you die in Vegas, I guess you got to get buried there. If what happens there stays there. God damn, that tea's good. Wish I wouldn't have caught that draft. Yeah, so a reason I'm happy to get out the house, I haven't really, besides the tour, haven't really done a lot of traveling recently. The last time I can remember taking a trip that was strictly for my own pleasure was Nashville, and that was in 2015. I don't think I took a pleasure. I must have taken a trip for pleasure last year. I don't remember. I must have taken at least one sort of trip. Most of the trips I take are either family or business. You know what I mean? But I'm going to do a weekend in Las Vegas, and the reason I'm excited about it is because I don't generally get out that much. My financial situation is not great, but it's not terrible either. So I'll be all right. I also don't feel bad because I've been working. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen probably. I have been working. I've been writing songs. I've been playing guitar. And I've been holed up in my room watching guitar tutorials. Learning stuff I've learned either learned a long time ago and forgot, or I should have learned a long time ago. I'm like studying right now, man. I'm studying my instrument, trying to get a little bit better, writing some lyrics, and just trying to put some stuff together, man. Like I think I said on the last podcast, I'm not even like giving myself a direction. I'm not doing the whole shit where I'm like, I want my next thing to be like, blah. I'm just going to fucking... Oh, the only thing I know about my next thing that I'm working on right now is it's definitely going to be based on guitar. I don't know if that even means you'll hear any guitar. It's just going to be written on guitar. And it's going to be cool. And I've been working on that, and I've come to discover that, you know, the more you work on something you love, and you don't make it a big deal, you don't make it some big thing in your head, you don't make it like a project or a process, or especially you don't make it work. Like I've been playing guitar so much in my room that like at the end of the day, sometimes I feel that feeling of like, oh fuck, I didn't work today. And then I'm like, wait a second. The reason that I feel like that is because I feel like I've just been doing a hobby all day and kind of just like enjoying myself. But the reality of the situation is, if I would have like tried to work, I would have got way less accomplished than just working. Just like doing what I normally do, which is work anyway. Like I would work if I didn't make any money or anything. I'd still like to do that. I always relate it to golf. Tiger Woods, in his peak, the peak of his career, I bet you playing golf was one of the most stressful things that he had to do. I've said that in my songs before. And it can feel like that with any job, especially a job that you're passionate about. But, you know, if you just break it down, take a step back, and just kind of take all the pressure off and just do it. You know, Tiger Woods would have made all them putts if he would have thought like that. And me, I'm having a great time. And, you know, it's not just the feeling of accomplishment that makes you feel good about working. It's not just like, you know, at the end of the day, if you were to build a wall, the phrase build a wall has taken on a whole new meaning when you hear it now that Trump is president. But, you know, I used to do landscaping and shit like that. Say you build a little, like, you know, a little brick wall in your front yard. A little short one that just has some shrubs and shit in it. At the end of the day, you look at the wall and you say, you know, I feel pretty good that I accomplished that. You know, I got a solid fucking 30 feet long. Worked all day. There's 30 feet of wall built. I am a mason. I am amazing. And I am a mason. But that's really only half the pleasure. Excuse me. The other half was actually brought to you while you were making it. It's that meditative shit. I've heard people call it flow. When you're just really in the flow of something. I think the best example would be like a skateboarder on a half pipe. It's not like he's thinking about a bunch of other shit. If he is, he's going to fuck up. That's why I wasn't never good enough at skateboarding, because I'd be like thinking about like, okay, like, well, what if I fall? Then I got to go to the hospital. If it's real bad, you know, first of all, it's going to be very painful. Second of all, like I might miss work, and then if I miss work, I might get fired, and they're going to be like, "What? I can't believe you. What are you doing skateboarding? You're out of college. You shouldn't still be doing that." And the point is, by the time all those thoughts get out, you fucking fell down. And not only did you not enjoy yourself, but you ended up not landing the fucking trick. But the real shredders, surfers, skateboarders, snowboarders, wakeboarders, doesn't have to be an extreme sport. It'd be a running back after he gets the ball handed to him, dodging tacklers. You think he's thinking about the fact that he didn't write off enough gas mileage on his tax returns? I don't know. He's thinking about tacklers, not taxes. Am I right? Jumbly, stumbling, mumbly. Rumbly and grumbly. My point is, you get into that, the reason people like shit like surfing and skateboarding. It doesn't have to be, I'm saying the obvious ones. Like, it can be landscaping. It can be gardening. All these things are really just a form of like meditation. You get into a place where there's nothing else in your mind that you're thinking about it but what's going on in the current moment. And for some reason, I have no fucking idea why. I don't know why humans work like this. But for some reason, we're the most happy when we're not thinking about anything else. When we're just in the moment, just extremely in the moment. I guess maybe sex is like that. I don't know. I guess it depends how good it is. I don't know. I try to get like that. I tell people about like, if I'm eating some really good food. If I'm eating some really good food, I'll shut my fucking eyes and I'll put my whole being into what that food tastes like. I've learned to do that. Through fucking yoga, meditation, and just thinking about it and practice. And my point with all this whole rant, I don't know where this started from. I know it's because I've been just practicing guitar and writing songs on my guitar for the past like month. Even though it's kind of like strange. It's strange. It's very like, I spend way too much time. Like, I could be in prison right now. Like, I spend so much time just in my room by myself. And, I've had times in my life where I kind of lived like that. But instead of getting something done, I'd be like just bullshitting and being depressed and whatever. And it'd just be terrible. But at the end of every day, I don't, even though I might have barely left the house, I feel great. Not even if not because I accomplished something, not because it's like that's another like that's another yard gained in the 100-yard football field where the end zone is this specific goal that I have. It's not even like that. I do have some goals. Don't think I'm just fucking out here in the middle of the ocean treading water with a smile on my face. Not even thinking about any possible way to get the fuck out the ocean. I got lifeboats in mind. I got helicopters in mind. I got flare guns in the holster. I know what I'm doing. I got plans. But what I'm doing is necessary preparation. Necessary sharpening of the knives. If I was a chef on Iron Chef, can't go up there with unsharpened knives. If I was a juggler, I got to juggle. You can't go up on the stage and think that you're going to fucking not hit yourself with the chainsaw. You got to juggle the rubber chainsaws at home. And that's what I'm doing. Sharpening my knives and skills. That's what I'm fucking doing right now. And I'm having a great time doing it. And you know what? I don't really have a point. I didn't have a thing to say after you know what. But, I'm going to Vegas this weekend. So I'm going to take a break from that. And hopefully, I think Vegas is a great place for, if you're a songwriter and you want to get some inspiration, Vegas is definitely a place to fucking... If you go to Vegas and you don't have a song written about that, you ain't a real writer. Because something's going to happen. You're going to meet a girl You're gonna get drunk. You're gonna have a bad night, like one of those nights where it's not even fun. You might have a night that's amazing. You might get married. You might get a girl pregnant. You might during the day in your hotel room be hungover and decide that you're just gonna watch a movie and watch a fucking inspirational movie. You might go to 7-Eleven. Homeless person is outside begging for money. Tells you a story. There are so many inspirational things in Las Vegas that if you're a songwriter and take a trip to Las Vegas and you can't think of a song about your trip, you might as well fucking go to your local crematory. Is that a crematorium? And put your fucking guitars and pianos in there. Might as well throw your pencils and iPads in there too. What else is going on, man? Oh, you know what? You know what's kind of cool? Kind of goes along with what I was talking about before. Maybe 2 or 3 podcasts ago, I was worried. I was worried about the current state of American affairs, not just because I actually am worried about America and the people that dwell within it. Hold on one second. God damn, that's good tea. I wish I wouldn't caught that draft, bro. Not only am I worried about the American people and the world as we know it, because we have let's face it, we got a crazy person in charge. We got a crazy person in charge, man. We got a person that lies about the most dumb shit. I'm not gonna bring up the million. Well, you guys have seen it. If you pay any attention to the news, you see the lies. The biggest lies and the dumbest lies being from the president. Because, yeah, there's lies by people on the right and lies by people on the left. There's fake news on both sides of the coin. But the one guy is the fucking president. And he comes out and tells a blatant lie at the beginning of his press conference about his electoral win. Comes out and tells a blatant lie. Biggest electoral college win since Ronald Reagan. And the guy stands up and is like, actually, Barack Obama had a bigger one. The other Barack Obama win was bigger. George H.W. Bush was bigger. Clinton was bigger. He's like, oh, yeah. Somebody gave me that information. I don't fucking know. But in between those two things, when he said the lie at the beginning and when the guy questioned him about it, at least 50% of the time, he was talking about how dishonest everybody else is. And it's like, dude, how are we supposed to fucking trust you when you're talking about how dishonest everybody is when you opened your thing with a lie about information that we didn't even ask you about? You presented it to us. Nobody asked you about how much you won Nobody ever asked how much you won by. Nobody cares except you. Anyway, my point was going to be that partially because of all the guitar playing and shedding I've been doing, and partially because it's just getting old, I guess, I've been paying much less attention to politics. You wouldn't have known that by the fact that I just went on a little mini rant there, but I didn't intend to do that. What I intended to say is that I've been paying a little bit less attention to politics, and you know what? I think it's doing me some good. I still look at it a little bit. Got to be informed. Got to know where the rug is, so when they try to sweep it out from under me, I can fucking reach down and grab it before they sweep it. So I stay informed, but, I think it's like one of those things where, A, I'm doing other shit, and B, it's just not entertaining anymore. Like, it's like 50 Cent, man. Trump is like 50 Cent. Let me explain that. 50 Cent was dope. Like, his style, when in his heyday, like 2002 through 2007 or something, I don't know, something like that. Those years probably weren't perfect, but when 50 Cent was ruling, like, yeah, he was a decent rapper and shit, and he had like a nice flow for his verses, but his main thing was his sensibilities with hooks and the way and his melodies. I'll take you to the candy shop. I'll make you little lollipop. I just fucking sang those 2 lines in different keys, but if you know me now, You got the mommy now. Now. Would you still have love for me? I think that's Nate Dogg that actually sang that, but it still sounds like it was written by 50 Cent. What was the other melodic ones? Many, 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 many men wish death upon me, but I don't shy no more. Don't need to die no more. Point is, this shit was entertaining. It was entertaining. It was like fucking a hot girl. It's entertaining. But you know what? Like they say about the hot girl. You show me a hot girl, I'll show you a guy that's tired of fucking her. You show me a new 50 Cent album with the same kind of melodies, I'll show you a bunch of people who are like, this sounds old and played and dated because I've heard this too many times. And that sentiment was obviously in effect years ago. But I think for me, Trump's antics have saturated the market so quickly that, you know, his shit is getting older faster than 50 Cent. I mean, I don't know who, it doesn't matter. But the point is, as I say this, I'm realizing, like, you know what? I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful with my own lack of interest here. Because if Trump is really the reality star that he is, and people start to tune out because, you know, essentially it's low ratings. Essentially it's like, all right, we get it. We've seen American Idol before. We've seen, you know, shows have their time. Trump's craziness, if that starts to just get boring and people tune out, it ain't like he stops being the president. You ain't got to buy 50 Cent's records. You know what I mean? He just stops selling them and then he kind of fades out. But you stop watching Donald Trump, he's still the president, and it's actually probably easier for him. If he was smart, if he really wanted to get a bunch of shit done, I don't know what he would do. I don't know. Kind of speaking off the cuff here, so I'm sorry if I'm making not as much sense as I should have on serious issues of importance. But I guess I got to make sure I don't lose too much focus. Because if we all lose focus on Trump, that's when he's going to be like, he's going to come on TV. We'll be like, oh, we ain't seen you in a while. Where you been? He's like, oh, I've been nuking a bunch of shit. We're like, nukes? How the fuck did you go? How did you nuke stuff without us hearing about it? Oh, I didn't tell you. I dismantled the entire media too. So I told them, I told them not to inform you. You know Madagascar? Non-existent. New Zealand? Old Newsland. Australia? More like us. Where you at now? You're just a hole. Get it? Because he nuked the entire continent of Australia. That's what happens when you go off the cuff. Especially after you caught a draft and you're feeling a little wavy. Wavy gravy. My roommate's name is Davey. Speaking of Davey, man. Davey got a brand new old synth. It's from the 70s. He got a fucking mini Moog. We call it a Moog. I know the official is, it's called a Moog, man. It's not a Moog, it's a Moog. But fucking Davey's the best Moog player you've ever seen. And he calls it a Moog. So I call it a fucking Moog. Fuck you. He got the mini Moog on Craigslist. It's like classic old synth. I know he spent like $3,000 on the motherfucker. And hopefully on my next project that shit will be all over because that shit sounds fat, son. Sounds amazing. Yeah. So let's do the questions and shout outs. And we are back. We as in me. I don't know why I would even say we when it's just one person who is me. It's Wax's podcast. I have no guests. I'd like to have some guests, but I don't feel like calling people and telling them to come over. I just want to, I don't know, man. Whatever. We're going to do some questions and shout outs. Before we get into that, I just realized something. First of all, for any of you first-time listeners, new listeners, if you want to send your question and have me answer it, or if you want to send Just a friendly email. Maybe ask me to shout you out. Say that you hate me. Say that you love me. It's beatsforwax@gmail.com. beatsforwax.com. Sorry about the draft that I called. That's why my voice sounds so froggy today, y'all. I apologize for that. It is also probably due to many years of excessive drinking and smoking. That might also be part of it. You know what, y'all? I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast before. I don't know what happened, but for some reason in the last couple months, the download numbers on Wax's podcast have gone way up. I don't know what it is. No idea, but if you look at the fucking numbers, folks, if you look at the download numbers, this ain't fake news. This is real fucking numbers. I wouldn't be lying about this. I don't give a shit. But for some reason, for years, I've had pretty much the same. Yeah, that sounded like I had auto-tune on my voice right there. My podcast numbers, download numbers, if you look at a X and Y axis, the X going up is number of downloads, and the Y going across in a rightward fashion is time. Week 1, week 2, week 3, blah, blah, blah. Years. For many years, that has been a straight line. Same amount of downloads every time. If anything, at the beginning, it was real big, then it took a little way down, then it was just a straight line for years. But for some reason, in the past couple months, I've taken a serious jump. I think maybe podcasts are just more popular now. Maybe, some people said maybe when I went out on tour and met people to their face, met my fans and interacted with people and gave people hugs and kisses and handshakes and punched babies. I mean, what? Kiss babies or whatever you're supposed to do to babies? Maybe people started listening to the podcast. I don't know. Maybe I charmed people into giving a fuck what I have to say on my podcast. I have no idea what it is. No idea. But the numbers have gone up, y'all. They've skyrocketed. Skyrockets in flight. Download XY axis height is going up. I don't know what it is. Is it my whip appeal or my baby face? I don't know what it is. But they're going up. And guess what? Let me take a sip of tea. Hold up. Got the draft. Guess what? I've reached enough downloads per month. I think that I probably could have started doing some shit like this a while ago. You know, some people who have been listening to podcasts for a while know that when you go to my page, if you go to wax.com and click on podcasts, there's a link for Amazon.com that if you click on it from there and then buy some shit on Amazon, I get some tiny ass amount of money. And that, I don't even get anything. That when I started that was the Herbal Tea Diaper Fund. So anybody who bought stuff on it would go to my brother. And he would buy diapers. That was when his kids were still in diapers. His kids are like 4 and 6 now. And they don't need diapers. I never even advertised the link. He's probably made $20 off that shit. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. But trust me, it's not a lot. All that said, I have officially reached the amount of downloads where I can... What's it called? I can start advertising. I can start making money off the podcast, y'all. I can start making money off the podcast. A lot of you fucking motherfuckers don't know that for years, I get enough downloads to where I have to pay for the service of putting the podcast out. I pay $30 a month. Not a big deal. No big whoop, you're saying. But guess what? It's it's $30 a month. Plus I do the shit. So I'm gonna start putting. I don't even know how it works yet. I just noticed recently that I just reached enough downloads to start doing advertising. I don't know how it's gonna work. I'm guessing I'm guessing it's going to work like the way other podcasts I've heard before work, where like in the middle of your podcast, you're like, okay, let me stop for a second and say, hey, everybody, fucking Dollar Shave Club, huh? What are the other ones that podcast people have? Stamps.com, Pro Flowers, stuff like that. Hey, it's Valentine's Day. Wouldn't you like to buy your whatever, some flowers? Mom, sister, aunt, side chick, some fucking flowers. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm going to see how that works. But I saw with the service that I use in order to do advertising, I have to get like 200 people that are my listeners to fill out this form. I looked at the form. Dude, it takes 30 seconds to do it. It's like, how old are you? Like what? Like I don't even remember what it says exactly, but it's like one page of like it's stuff that's like it's looking for your demographic, right? So when it has me doing advertising, if my advertising is males, my shit is probably mostly male, 17 to 40. That's probably my main. You know, I got people younger and people older, and I got females too, but they'll probably, they'll probably be giving me like fucking those things where you bet on sports, fantasyfootball.com or whatever the fuck it is. That's probably the kind of shit they'll be giving me. Anyway, if you want to be nice, if you like the podcast, you want me to keep doing it, I swear, dude, if I have advertising, it will literally probably force me to do it every week. So if you like me doing the podcast every week and not skipping it like a fucking lazy, irresponsible moron, when I put out this podcast, check my Twitter @BigWax. Check my Facebook, which is facebook.com/wax.com. Check that, and I will post a link to this forum. And I think I got to get like 200 listeners to fill it out, and then I can start doing advertising. I don't know how much money it makes. I think that I saw that it's like, it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, hey, do you want to join I always think of Dollar Shave Club when I think of podcasts, but it would be like if you sign up to Dollar Shave Club or Fantasy Football Elite fucking KickyPass.com. You would get that. It'd be like promo code WAX or something like that, and then I would get a percentage. I don't think they give me like $100 per whatever or something like that. I think it'd be based on performance. So we're gonna see what's going on. I'll be open with y'all. I'll tell you how much fucking money I make. I didn't start this podcast for money. I started this podcast because I just wanted to see if I could do it, and plus it's kind of like therapy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I pay $30 a month just to put out a podcast. But the couple times I went to a therapist, I went to a therapist 3 times when I was depressed in like 2010 or something. And I think I paid that shit $150 each time. It was an hour. It was like $450 for 3 times. I can do 4 times in a month for $30. And I don't even need to talk to anybody. I can just use a microphone. It's kind of the same thing. So my point is, I'm gonna probably start doing some advertising. It's gonna be an experiment. I know some of y'all are probably fucking mad, thinking I'm selling out. You're gonna be so fucking mad that after years and hours and free hours, you got to listen to 30 seconds of me talking about some fucking company. But you know what? We're gonna try it out. Hopefully next week, maybe the week after that. I don't really know. I didn't do all the research, but when you hear this, go to my Twitter or go to my Facebook and help me out with that advertising shit, y'all. I would really appreciate it. And if the money's big, maybe we'll do some kind of sharing. You know what I mean? If I make a bunch of money, doing advertising on the podcast, maybe we can start having contests. I don't do contests like on the with my music and shit. I'll do a contest where you win like a T-shirt and some interesting shit. But on the podcast, if we do a contest, you're just going to win cash. It's going to be a Vegas-style contest. Just get cash, man. Give me your PayPal email and I will send you the cash, No fucking nonsense. Wax's podcast, new slogan, used to be the podcast comes first. TPCF. Hashtag TPCF. But you know what? After all that time, it was a lie. It was a lie. It didn't come first, yo. Obviously not. When I was on tour, I didn't do a podcast for goddamn near 2 months. So I think the new podcast slogan, I don't even remember what I just said the slogan was going to be. It's not, what was it? Oh, no nonsense. All ads, no nonsense. When we have contests, the prize is cash. Give me your PayPal email. Don't give me your mailing address. I'm not going to the post office. I'm not sending you a shirt. I'm not sending you a fucking vinyl autograph double Kickstarter package with 2 tote bags and a lighter with your name on it. Signed by blah with a personalized. I'm giving you the fucking cash. Do you understand what I'm saying? No nonsense. Hashtag no nonsense. All right, y'all. Enough of that. Shout outs this week. Like I said, if you want to, I'm pretty well caught up on the email. I left there's 8 that I didn't get to. beatsforwax@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty caught up. So next pod, if you send me an email, next podcast, I'll probably either give you a shout out or read your question or whatever. Shout outs this week. We got Diana P. Diana P. We got Dylan. What's up, Dylan? Dylan from Tipperary, Ireland. Tipperary. Tipperary. That just doesn't sound like that's how it would be. Tipperary. I probably misspelled it. Dylan. I love the name Dylan. Hey, my name's Dylan. This is my friend Connor. This is Tyler. And this is Anders. I don't fucking know, man. Yo, we got Lance in advance from Australia. Lance in advance. I should have shouted out him first, considering his name. We got Kyle and Samuel. I guess that's Kyle and Samuel, but they spelled it like Kyle and Samuel from Oregon. We got the one, the only, Jackie Sweetleaf. Shout out to you, Jackie, as always. I appreciate your long-term listening. I appreciate you always hitting me up. Hopefully we'll meet one day. I know you missed the show on this tour, but maybe next time. We got Evan R. I repeat, Evan R. All right, we got Saddam Insane, a.k.a. Hassan K. It's been a minute. What up, Wax? Hope all is well. It's been a minute since I last emailed into the podcast, so I thought it was about time. I'm not sure when you will read this. Knowing you, probably not for a while. But in response to Ryan T's email this past week, it had me thinking, where are the OG podcast listeners now? Are Raul Justice and White Phillip still listening? I'm pretty sure White Phillip is still listening. Raul Justice, are you still out there? Is there anybody out there? That was quite a song to listen to on acid while you were a teenager, wasn't it? Is there anybody out there? There. And also, how about a call a fan and fuck with them segment? I should do a call a fan and fuck with them segment. You know why I don't like doing that? I don't think I ever actually did that. I might have did it once. But I've had things where I give people my phone number and they use it irresponsibly. A lot of times when you give somebody your phone number, they use it irresponsibly. That's why I hate to say it, y'all. So many of you I met, so many of you awesome people came out and saw me on tour, but I bet you if you saw me at the end of the tour, at the end of the show at the merch table, 99% chance if you would have said, hey, take my number down, I'd be like, oh, I don't have my phone on me. Because I purposely don't have my phone on me. Because I feel bad when people want to exchange information and to tell them to their face, I don't want you to have my phone number. They're standing right there, a foot away from me, and I want to be like, I don't want you to have my phone number. But what I do is I just purposely don't have my phone on me, and I'm like, I don't have my phone on me, and you can move on. Hit me up on Twitter, because as cold as you might think that seems like it sounds, when I've given people my phone number in the past, they use it way too much. Then they give it to their friend who hits me up. Hey, this is blah, blah, blah. I'm friends with blah, blah, blah. They met you at blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I would like to do I would call you though, Hassan. I bet you several times you're a cool dude. You wouldn't do some shit like that. So if you're listening, man, hit me up with your number. Maybe we can do a quick call someone and fuck with them with you. I mean, now you'd be expecting it, but you'd have to expect it because I'd have to ask for your phone number. When I used to call someone and fuck with them and I'd start it as kind of a prank, it made sense because I had the person's phone number. I knew them. But if I hit you up like, let me get your phone number, then I called I couldn't really prank you. You probably wouldn't even answer it because you wouldn't recognize the number. Anyway, hit me up with an email, Hassan. Maybe I'll hit you up and see if we can talk for a little bit on the podcast. See how that goes. We'll try something new. You know what I'm saying? And Raul Justice and White Phillip, you still there? Hit me up with an email, beatsforwax@gmail.com. Shout out to all the old school podcast listeners, man. Geoff. You know what I'm saying? All right, we got an email from Ali Marufo. It's a relatively long email, but I'm going to read this one. Hello, Wax. Had the privilege to see you play on December 23rd. That was Los Angeles. It was the first time I witnessed your talents live, and it was by far the best experience. My BF introduced me to your music, and it's been a fun ride following your it. I think that's a typo. We just hit 6 years together and celebrated by fucking to your very romantic Valentine's Day song, period, blood and all. Ha, ha, ha. But jokes aside, can't wait for more concerts. Thank you so much. I'm in the process of getting my RN license. If you don't know that, that means registered nurse. I'm sure that most of you guys know that, but just in case. And want to work at an ER with a trauma center and later on become a flight nurse. I have some crazy stories from interning at an ER. My favorite one to tell is the night the Mexicano, I referred to him of that because of HIPAA laws, came to the ER. Explicit story, though. Oh, yeah, that's right. I wanted to read this because of this story. HIPAA is like it's like health insurance protection agency or something like that. So I guess you didn't want to say his name. I wouldn't have said his name anyway. Although I think I fucking said your full name, didn't I? I said your last name, didn't I? Well, I'm not going to fucking edit it. Because I'm lazy. I don't think that, you sent me your last name. I don't think that there's like anything technically illegal or anything about me saying people's last names when they email the podcast. I always thought that was weird. I don't know. That's why I tell people, say like Ali M usually. Anyway, this is from Ali M. It was a normal hot night in SoCal, and I was sitting in triage. Was it triage? Geoff! Triage! With the nurses. See, people that work in, that's why I said, when you said RN, I said registered nurse. Because we got people that listen from Sweden and fucking Romania and shit. They don't know that RN means registered nurse. Triage, I don't really know what a triage is. It's like when when people enter the military and then they go to boot camp and then they spend a year in, then they might even go overseas, then they come back, and when you talk to them at the bar, they're like, yeah, you should have seen my W-70s were had so many C4 rations that our barricade was transkaleidoscoped or whatever. People forget that you didn't go to the military. They did. I don't know what you're talking about. And Allie, a lot of people don't know what an RN is. A lot of people don't know what a triage is. I can tell you, you know what? I'm going to look it up. I am going to look up what a triage is. I don't even know. We don't even know what a TreeCast is. What a triage or triage? I think it's a triage. It is triage in medical use. The assignment of degrees of urgency or to wounds or illnesses to decide the order of treatment of a large number of patients or casualties. Okay, so I guess it's like essentially the waiting room where you kind of be like, okay, this motherfucker's got shot, so he got to go over here. This guy has poison ivy, so he got to go over here. We're in the triage. We're deciding where people are going. Okay. It was a normal hot night in SoCal, and I was sitting in triage with the nurses. We were getting the usual. Just there, getting the huge. Sorry, I had to burp. We were getting the usual burps, farts, people shitting themselves. No, that's something I added in. We were getting the usual chest pains, car accidents, stomach pains. Then the Mexicano shuffled through the line holding his stomach and sweating profusely. None of the nurses spoke Spanish, so I had to translate. After talking to him, he revealed that he had not had a bowel movement in 15 days. Holy shit. Literally. Am I right? Holy not shit. Am I right? We quickly put him in a bed, and I had to stay with the doctor during treatment in order to translate. I think you're an absolute saint, Alliam. I felt so bad having to explain to him the treatment that was about to take place. Mexicano was going to have to quickly drink a gallon of solution to soften the stool. Received not only an enema, but the doctor's fingers. People got to do this shit, y'all. I held his hand while the doctor manually removed rocks of fermented shit from his asshole. I know you meant you held the patient's hand, but it sounds funny that you said right after you said, but the doctor's fingers. Then you said, I held his hand while the doctor removed. Sounds like you were holding his fingers, but either way, I know what you meant. I think the podcast listeners did as well. All while he screamed in pain, ay, Dios mío. Trying my hardest to be professional, I tried not to notice the rancid smell of the tar coming out of this man's body. After the plug of shit came out, I shit you not, pun intended, she says. It was like a feces fire hose. This would last 24 hours dying down to a trickle. Jesus, 24 hours. How much poop was this? 24 hours worth of a fire hose? Was it? Jesus. And that is what happens when you take strong painkillers, kids. No one explained to this poor guy that painkillers cause severe constipation. So not only was he recovering from shoulder surgery, he was at home getting freaked out from why he couldn't take a shit. It wasn't until the pain in his ass got too much for Mexicano to handle that he came to the ER. Nurses have a weird sense of humor, so that is my story. Shout out to my BF, Michael Von Devil, as he calls himself. Thanks, Allie M. That's quite a story, and the reason I wanted to read that is, first of all, because I thought it was just interesting, and second of all, people, we need people that like Allie in the world. I've said since I remember for some reason like saying this to people ever since I was a little kid, that I could never be a firefighter, a cop, an ER person, a doctor, especially an emergency room doctor. I just fucking couldn't do it, man. Like blood and bodily fluid and shit, it freaks me out. It freaks me out, and some people say they can't play a musical instrument. I guess that I got lucky that I couldn't do shit like that. And, maybe people that do that need music. I don't know. There has to be some kind of trade-off. Maybe people that ride and show up at the scenes of horrific pileups on the highway where multiple people die and people's heads are off and people's arms are off and there's dead children at the scene. Maybe those people need music to relax. I guess that's the fucking trade-off. I don't know, but those people, in my opinion, are way more valuable for society than people such as myself. We need those people so bad. And there are people, probably like you, Allie, I'm guessing, there are people that like kind of just always were into that shit. Because you're helping people, At the end of the day, you're helping people. It's gross, but it's rewarding, and you're doing the right thing. Obviously, this guy that you're talking about felt way better. I've known when I lived back in Maryland, there was a few people I knew that became firefighters, and they would tell me about how you had to have a weird sense of humor to get by. Like, it sounds fucked up to people like me, but like, they'll show up to a horrific car crash and they'll make little jokes. Like, yeah, he really lost his head on that one, or whatever. Like, that's a way to get a leg up in the game. You know, like little body part humor, and like it's fucked up, but that's the only way that they can get through it without just fucking crying because it's horrific. It's the only way they can get through it is to have a fucked up sense of humor. I've heard that from several different firefighters, and like, you know, on different occasions. And I imagine working at the ER is the same way. I can't imagine it. You're a fucking doll. Shout out to you. Shout out to your boyfriend, and thank you so much for the email, Miss Allie M. See, we got some female listeners. I feel like when I when I request emails specifically, I get females like, hey man, we listen to. But thank you so much, Allie. Thanks for coming to the show too. That LA show was awesome. All right, yo, Wax. I got a ticket while making a left turn on Lancashire while on Magnolia going west. It sucks, in all caps, because it was one of those riskier moments. Anywho, wait, it sucks because it was one of those riskier moments. Anywho, while having that endeavor, I thought about something to ask you. Have you always been stiff around seeing cop cars? Have you always been stiff around seeing cop cars right next to you while on the road? If so, what do you entrust this with, and what do you don't? This is from Finn Tokes, and it says, P.S. Sitting high AF on the back porch here. There was a couple of things in this. There was a couple parts of your email there, Mr. Tokes. It made me think maybe you were high AF. You said it sucks because it was one of those, quote, riskier moments, unquote. Those are your quotes. Does that mean you were drunk? Does that mean you were high? Does that just mean you were taking a risky turn? Like, I don't know. Like you're trying to say something to me, and like you're trying to like give me a hint, wink, wink, but I'm not sure exactly what you mean. And then you said, okay. Have you always been stiff around seeing cop cars right next to you whilst on the road? If so, what do you entrust this with, and what do you don't? What do you don't is a hilarious. God damn! I wish I wasn't sick. All right, All right, you're high. You know, you're high. What are you gonna do? I know what you're asking me. You're asking me if I get nervous when I see the police. And you know, an interesting thing I've often talked about this with my black associates. It's not true that white people aren't scared of the police. Yeah, I'm like half Hispanic and whatever, but I look like a white dude. And it's definitely not true that white people don't get nervous as fuck around the police. Granted. Probably not as nervous. You know what I'm saying? We're not as worried about violence. You know, we're not as scared. Probably. I'm not putting myself in anybody else's shoes, but this whole stereotype that like white people don't give a shit about the police and they're just not worried at all is bullshit. I'm scared as shit of the police. I've had tons of bad experiences, especially growing up as a skateboarder. And just kind of generally a punk ass kid. Had a lot of bad experiences with police. Been arrested a couple times, and just you know, the fact of the matter is, a lot of times they're assholes, and a lot of times you might be doing something wrong. And it's weird. You get just as nervous when you're not doing something wrong because you think like, man, I must have something in this car that is illegal. But yeah, I get nervous, man. I get super nervous around police. I mean, they got guns on them, you know. I try to be nice, but you know, something I've realized recently, and this has nothing to do with police, although it's applicable to police. I don't have that thing that some people have. There's like a thing that certain people have my temporary roommate that just lived with me for a little while had the fuck out of it. There's this thing that certain people have. I used to know a girl that I'm thinking of in my head. I'm not going to explain to you who she is because you wouldn't fucking know her unless you're the one person that might listen to the podcast and know her. Anywho, you know those people that just have like this thing where they're just instantly like likable, and also they just take everybody's guard down. A lot of those people work in retail. The people that work in retail. Not car sales, not electronic sales, not the people that are good at being used car salesmen like Donald Trump. Not that kind of personality, the sales guy personality that sells mortgages and real estate and shit. I'm talking about the person that works at the fucking Gap. That's been working at the Gap for 10 years and loves working at the Gap. And you walk in there and they're like, hey, how you doing? And you're just instantly like, I'm doing great. How are you? My homie Cootie has this and he's black actually, so I'm sure it doesn't fucking work for him all the time. I'm not trying to be whatever. Like, I'm sure he has had horrible experiences with police, but he's one of those people that he just disarm. Anybody that he talks to is immediately disarmed. He has this charmingness, where it's like people like me, and I've seen it with my boy T-Rex too. Like, we think we have it, and then we try to say something, and then we just get the fucking gas face from somebody who works at the grocery store. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, we can charm sometimes, but some people don't have to say something charming. They don't have to say something clever. They just say hi and a smile, and people are just fucking, they just melt. And I've realized over a long period of time that I don't have that. People instantly think I got an ulterior motive. People instantly think I'm creepy. I don't know what it is, man. People think, especially women, a lot of women think I'm creepy. I don't know. I just have a sense of creepiness about me. And I thought when I got these glasses, I thought it got better, but I think it might have got worse. Anyway, thanks, Fintokes. I appreciate it, man. I didn't mean to diss you, by the way. I wasn't dissing you. You're high. Whatever. This next one's from Frisco Vega. How dope has it been to see the various things Anderson .Paak has been doing? I first heard him on Cell Phone way back in the day, so it was wild to hear him all over Dre's album and performing with Tribe at the Grammys. Yes, indeed, that was wild. I wanted to answer this because last week was the Grammys, and I don't think I mentioned it on my podcast last week. How sick was that? That's somebody I haven't talked to him in a while. But, I've toured with him. I spent a lot of time with him. He's a good friend, and he's just fucking killing it. It's kind of interesting, Like, I have friends that become, like, popular, or friends that just are. I have a couple famous friends, and it's almost like I feel weird calling now. You know what I mean? I would feel weird calling him now, which is stupid. Stupid. But when you have people that are famous, you like if you're like me, you kind of be like, oh, if I call him, he's think I'm just gonna want something from him, And you think you're being overly nice, but you're just really just being weird. He's just the same dude he ever was. But yeah, dude, it's fucking amazing. Because not only is this motherfucker like doing a lot of cool shit, he performed at the Grammys. He was nominated for 2 Grammys. He's killed it on several late night shows. He's about to tour with Bruno Mars in Europe. Like, just so many amazing things. But he's also a good dude, and anybody that's known him for a while, like, you always knew he was just special. Like, he's not like a guy that got some breaks. He's like a guy that deserves breaks because he might potentially be like one of the greats. Like, this dude, like Breezy might end up being like one of those dudes. Like, back in the day, it was for Stevie and Marvin and shit, and now it's Pharrell and Timberland, Dre, shit like that. He might be one of those dudes. Very good chance. He's on his way. He definitely has the talent. He's definitely like he's the most talented musician I've ever met or worked with, for sure. Absolutely 1,000%. I'll tell anybody that. Most talented musician I've ever worked with. And we're all proud of him. And I should have said something. That Grammy performance was crazy, man. I mean, when he did that shit, when he was playing the drums and singing that song they did on Tribe's album, like, it's like, oh yeah, this is the dude. This shit is funky as fuck. I also enjoyed Bruno Mars's performance on the Grammys. I really enjoyed Ed Sheeran's performance on the Grammys when he just did the shit by himself. Because, I watched that and I was like, oh, that's like some shit that I could do. I liked, what was the other performance I liked? Bruno Mars. I hated Adele's tribute to George Michael. I thought that was fucking terrible. Not just because she made the mistake and started over again. I actually thought that was kind of cool. I actually thought that was kind of cute and endearing. But the song, the arrangement, the mood, the self-aggrandizing nature of it, I was like, dude, just do a fucking, when we think of George Michael, we don't think of that. We think of fun. We think of good times. We think of, do fucking Faith. Do, Jesus, take it back. Do Wham songs. Do Wake Me Up Before You Go. At least do Father Figure. I'm a George Michael fan, dude. I wanted more than that. I wanted more than that. It didn't seem like it was about George Michael. It seemed like it was about Adele. Where's my fucking Bruno Mars? Say what you will. And by the way, when I was talking about my favorite performance, my favorite performance was Tribe and Anderson .Paak, but my second favorite performance was Bruno's performance of his song. But a great performance as well was him doing the Prince song. And say what you will about that performance. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to hate. But that shit was about Prince. He dressed up like Prince, played guitar like Prince, sang Prince's song. That shit was about Prince. He didn't fucking go up there in all black with the orchestra and fucking sing a slowed down version of When Doves Cry and have the spotlight on himself. Sorry. It's just how I felt about that performance. Goddamn, see, I'm out of tea. Wait, I got a little sip left. And I've been talking, so I shouldn't be doing a podcast when I call a draft. I shouldn't be doing a podcast when I'm sick, y'all. Okay, so where am I at here? Where am I going here? Did I not? That's not talking. All right. We got 2 more letters here. We got, what's up, Wax? It's Heath from North Florida. I have a situation you might be able to help me out with, if you don't mind, man. But just to warn you, it's a bit long. It's really not that long. You might remember me asking you a few months back about advice for getting over my breakup with my last girlfriend. If you don't recall, we were together from the time I was 18 until this past October. I turned 21 next month. All right, we've been together for almost 3 years. Oh, wait, yeah. Well, 2.5 years. It was a big emotional hit, and I only just now am really getting over it. I feel like I'm ready to get out and do social shit again, and hopefully meet some girls and get laid. Nice. There is just one problem, though. Over the course of my last relationship, I went from being about 215 pounds to about 290. Yeah, I know. My mad overweightness, along with the feeling of rejection from my last girlfriend, has left my confidence pretty damn low. When I was in high school, I was a pretty fit guy, and I had no problem getting girlfriends. But now I see girls I find attractive. I live really close to the University of Florida. That place is crawling with babes. And I feel like I can't even talk to them. It's pretty shitty. Besides the obvious solution of hitting the gym and putting down the chili fries, which I've already started doing and had lost a few pounds, how do I build my confidence back up? I'm sure getting back in shape and feeling better will help. But I can't help but feel I'll be getting no pussy anytime in the near future, haha. Any thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Thanks. The first thing I want to say to you, Heath, you turn 21 next month. So this is important because when you're 20 years old, you think you know a lot, but you don't know a fucking thing. Let me be honest with you. What the fuck is what's the new podcast motto? No nonsense. No nonsense, okay? I'm about to start doing advertising on this podcast, Heath, so there's no fucking room for nonsense. If you got a problem, join the contest. I'll send you fucking cash. Give me your PayPal. Give me your PayPal email, man. God damn, I sound like I got auto-tune on my voice. Anyway, Heath, that was just me fucking around. 20 years old, you actually know a lot, but you also don't know a lot. Now, what I want to tell you first, lesson that I've learned, lesson that we all learn, well, not all of us, but some of us. Pussy isn't everything. Pussy is not that big of a deal. don't let not getting, and I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are. But this advice is more for anybody listening. Pussy's not that big of a deal. Yeah, we like getting pussy. We like having orgasms. But you know what? You can do that to yourself. And it's, as I've said on this podcast before, of course it's nice when you go through a breakup to get your mind out of the thing, get your mind away by being with other people, and it's always is nice to, have sex and whatnot, but it's really, how can I put this? Like actually, quote unquote, getting pussy is really something that you just put on yourself. It's something that like, maybe it's a result of our culture. Maybe it's a result of like when you're young and you just feel like it's almost like a peer pressure thing, like peers like make you think you got to do this or do that. But if you can get by and be fine without getting pussy, it's really just as important to do just generally social shit. You know what I mean? I'm still talking specifically about getting over a breakup now. Like, yeah, maybe it's good to get pussy. But don't let it consume you. It's like, for example, in your case, it's gonna feel better in the long run and short term to start losing weight. I'm kind of out of shape right now. I did the tour, and then like this first couple months of this year, I've been like doing some yoga and shit, but I've also been like eating unhealthy, been drinking a little bit and whatnot. So I'm not in good shape. But last summer, I was in really good shape for a little while, and you know what? It feels great. And when the physical, like I was saying before about doing the flow shit, and when you do physical activity, your brain releases endorphins, and you actually just have pleasure. And you probably get more. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I bet you, if you did an hour of strenuous exercise, where you were like dead at the end of it, and then you kind of like get that runner's high kind of feeling, I bet you get actually more pleasure out of that than you do out of sex. And I'm sure there's some of you assholes are out there like, shit, when I fuck, it is like that. Fucking liars. But the point is, there's stuff that you can do for yourself that's kind of technically just as pleasurable. If we're talking about just like sex with a girl you don't care about, like it's essentially a free, like just a chick, like if a friend helped you out, or if you got a prostitute or whatever, like you probably get more. And I'm not recommending a prostitute. You probably that could turn into a bad thing, but you probably can get just as much pleasure off a 2 hour, if you do music, a 2 or 3 hour jam session with your buddy. You know what I mean? Playing some blues. If you work out, 40 minutes of weights, 40 minutes of cardio into that, you're probably getting more pleasure than you are out of getting some pussy. And spending less money. And not having to deal with a girl you don't like. But if you do like the girl, that's actually could be just as fun as the pussy itself. What else? Yeah, I don't know your whole deal. Like, to be 290 pounds is a lot. I don't know how tall you are. I don't know what you look like, but you definitely should put down the chili fries. And I know, as a person that has an addictive personality, as somebody that smokes cigarettes and drinks, food has never been my. I definitely indulge in some, quote, fat people food, unquote. I'm an American. I like cheeseburgers. I like burritos that are fucking covered in cheese and carne asada and fucking French fries on the side. I like that kind of shit, But like if I really want to quit and eat healthy for a while, it's not that difficult for me. But if it is difficult for you, I can relate by relating it to me wanting to drink or smoke. You know what I mean? And I get that it's hard. So good luck, man. I know it's tough. But as far as getting your confidence back, that there's something real special about being in shape, man. That shit'll make you feel confident for sure. Don't get too in shape. That's why people that are in real good shape become douchey. Because the more in shape you get, the more confident you get, and douchiness really is just overconfidence, you know? Oh shit, am I getting a spinning wheel on my email right now? Motherfucker. You son of a bitch. I might have to do the last email off my phone. Why are you giving me the spinning wheel for, motherfucker? Let me just pull that back up because I got one more email to read, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Let me get this going for you guys real quick. But yeah, so while I pull that up, Heath, you're 20 years old. It's the same time in my life that I went through a really, really bad breakup. I was 20 as well. But almost the same numbers as you're talking about. What the fuck? It's doing it again. I'm going to have to pull this up on my phone. And it was tough. I've been through a few more now. And they get easier. I don't know if you would say they get easier or not. I don't fucking know if it gets easier. Life's hard, man. It's full of heartbreak. But you know what? You just got to keep on living. And I guess what do they say? Better to have loved and lost than to never loved at all. I guess that's true. I don't fucking know. I think in some cases that's not true, but whatever, man. You're 20. Believe shit like that. All right, thanks, Heath. We got one more. We got Rodney from Wisconsin. Hey, Wax. A friend and I got really high the other night and started talking about some crazy shit. Like when a person dies, there is a part of their brain that stays active for 7 minutes. What if that's what heaven is? It's that 7 minutes, but it feels like forever, kind of like Inception. Then we were talking about how maybe our universe is just a tiny atom in something way vaster. Like, we could all be nothing more than this little dot in the fingernail of some giant dude. Or maybe a seed in the mustard of some really big sandwich. Or even the germ on the back of a flea that's sitting on the hair of some giant dog. New paragraph. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts? P.S. Come back to Minneapolis. Been a fan since the beginning. I appreciate that, Rodney from Wisconsin. Of course, I've had those kind of thoughts before. The thoughts about, if we're looking at the universe and how small the Earth is compared to, infinity. The most commonly used analogy that I've heard is a 1 grain of sand on the entire beach of the West Coast. You know what I mean? And that's not even, it could be 1/100th of the grain of sand on the entire, out of all sand in the entire world could be the entire universe, not even us. You know what I mean? So, of course, I've had those kind of thoughts. We don't know what's going on. This whole thing could be a simulation. I like the one where the Earth is an ant farm. And when a kid has an ant farm, like for the first day, they kind of like pay attention to it or whatever. I don't know I guess you give them ant food or something. I don't really know. I guess kids don't really have ant farms anymore. Come to think of it, I never had an ant farm. That must have been like, when I was a kid, you'd watch TV, and those kids from the 60s would have, those old Nick at Night type shows. Kids would have ant farms. I don't think kids really had ant farms when I was a kid, because it's kind of a gross concept. Anyway, I imagine that after a day of playing with the ant farm, you just kind of leave the ant farm to be. And leave it to beaver, And, you come back a couple of days later and the ants are killing themselves, killing each other. There's new diseases formed in there, It's like a petri dish, and, that kid is like what we look at as God, but he doesn't really give a fuck about us. He just kind of let us do our thing, and we're just, You never know, man. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts? So, yeah. I've had those kind of thoughts, for sure. That's kind of why I don't think things like the holy books, the Bible, the Quran, the Old Testament, New Testament, any holy book, the Book of Mormon, I mean, if you really think that that's the universe, like, to me, that's just, to be honest with you, man, it's been the older I get, I think this even more and more. It's fucking insane. It's insane that people actually believe that. And this is all stuff that people have said before. I remember writing a song about it when I was much, much younger. Just kind of comparing, like, us understanding what is above us would be like an ant on Earth understanding, the election, understanding what's going on in Iranian politics. Like an ant that you see on the ground knows what's going on in Iranian politics. That ant thinks that the hill, who knows what the fuck? Ant doesn't think shit. He's too dumb, just like we are. We don't know. We're not smart enough to know that kind of shit. And it's insane that you think this little book that we wrote is like you really believe it. It's one thing to like kind of like play like you believe it. You go to church on Christmas and kind of like, yeah, kind of like that's not my team. I'm American. I was kind of born with this thing, but like to really, really believe it, to really think that that's the thing. Found Jesus. It's crazy to me. I've been watching this I've been watching this guitar tutorial video with a guy like that. It's because it's like a gospel video. Gospel guitar is cool. But he'll teach you a chord. He'll do the chord formation with his left hand and be like, what I like to do is if it's a hard chord to form, I put it there, I take it off and I lift my hand up and say, praise Jesus, and then I put it back on there. And do that until do that over and over again until I can do it real fast. I take my hand up, I say, praise Jesus, put my hand back on the neck, put the chord up, take my hand off, put it up, praise Jesus, put my hand back on the same chord, take it up, praise Jesus. It's fucking hilarious. But I can't help but be like, dude, like, what are you doing? It's just crazy to me that we believe this shit. On that note, I'm sorry I don't mean to be offensive or anything, but I just can't do it anymore. I'm not an atheist. I'm not saying that there's not God. I actually am not an atheist. I think that there is something above us. I think there's something special, something magical. I think that the feeling that people get in church when they sing the songs, I think there's real magic and real specialness in there, but I don't think that's because there's some fucking guy that lived 2,000 years ago that wore sandals and whatever is like getting inside of you. I don't think it has anything to do with that guy. I don't think that guy did it. I think it's something else. I think it's the music itself, and there's something magical and something spiritual. I think there's something going on, but I'm not going to fucking, on my podcast, it's my fucking podcast. No nonsense. So you might think that you have to you might think that I got to send you money. You might think that certain people got to wear different kind of hats. This person wears this hat because they're a reverend. This person is a bishop, so they wear this hat. This person is a rabbi, so he wears this hat. This guy is I don't know, whatever it is, man. Orthodox. We have many different types of silly hats, and they're very important to us because of the books. Anyway. That's about all I got for you guys. Be safe out there.